Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and yes, this is a video talking about selling cars. So with that being said, let's just get right into it. So first off, I'm going to get all of you up to date because I talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people think I still own vehicles that I do not own anymore. So this is the first vehicle we own, Toyota Land Cruiser. It's the new generation. It's a 250, so it's the Prado. And then we also currently own the Ineos Grenadier. And then the last car that we own is a 200 series Land Cruiser Heritage Edition, and that is it. Just those three cars. And I guess I shouldn't say just those three cars because 3 cars for 2 people is a lot, but you guys get the point. Now the thumbnail of the video included these 2 cars because these are the 2 cars that are currently on the chopping block. So here's the situation that I currently find myself in. We have 3 cars that are all SUVs, and all of them are 5-seater cars. Now that'll be very important in just a moment. Now the Ineos Grenadier that is right there, I purchased because new car from new car company. I thought it'd be fun to put it on the channel. Like, is this car going to be reliable? Test it out, all that kind of stuff. And it's been an absolute blast. And then the new 250 that I'm in right now that I'm parking back. This one was a little bit of a different situation. So I wasn't planning on buying this, but one of my dealer friends traded this in with only 3,000 miles on it. Squeaky brakes. And I thought, you know what? I think it'd be really cool to have this on the channel for at least some period of time because Toyota is a very popular brand, and this has a new powertrain from Toyota. And so yeah, just testing it out makes a lot of sense. And yeah, it has done well when it comes to content. The problem though is all of these are SUVs with 5 seats, and we've got a baby that'll be here in January. Now, we still can make the 200 series work as a family car. It's a really big vehicle. I mean, I don't know if you can tell that it's not quite like Tahoe or Suburban size. It's a bit smaller, but it's still a very spacious vehicle. However, if we have 2 car seats in there, then that means that if someone wanted to use or be in the car with us, then we basically have the front passenger seat available in the middle seat. Getting into the middle seat when you have 2 car seats is an absolute pain. So yeah, 3rd row, that's kind of where things are going here. Also, side tangent, just filled up the 250 the other day. That is my range on a full tank of gas. That's quite disappointing. And another side tangent, lined up next to each other, you can see they're basically the same size, but something to note, the 200 has more interior space. And I mean, you can see how it's a little bit wider than the 250, and like, look at the top section there, just a little bit bigger overall. Now at this point, some of you might be wondering, why not just buy a 3-row vehicle and keep the current garage setup? Well, there's a few reasons why I don't want to do that. First off, I'm a car reviewer, not a car collector. And so the only reason why I have particular cars is to do long-term tests on them, or obviously in the case of the 200 series Land Cruiser, I mean, I do content with that car, but also it functions as a daily driver as well. Got to have something for transportation. And on top of that, I really do not like having more than 3 cars. Again, last year I had 5 cars at one point. Absolutely hated it. It was absolutely horrible. And I know some people have way more cars than that and they make it work. I don't want to do it. I hate having to keep up with the registration, the maintenance, and then just driving the cars. Like, you don't want to have cars sit for too long or things just get gunked up and dried out and they just stop working over time. And so I found that 2 cars is the perfect amount for 2 people. 3 can still work because you just basically switch between 2 of them, and you can still keep up with the maintenance very easily, and then obviously driving and all of that stuff. And so I just want to keep it at that. I think 3 cars is the perfect amount for my personal job and then also for our family situation. So that leaves us with a question. Do we get rid of the 250 or do we get rid of the Grenadier? We'll start with the pros and cons of the 250 here first and foremost. So first big pro is this thing right here. It is a Toyota, and so that means there is a huge following for content on the car. And so it's going to do really well with that. So that is definitely a pro to keep it, is the viewership and the content. A pro to sell this car though is this little thing here. I know, it's pretty stupid. First edition. So with the first edition Land Cruiser, it basically gives you a fully loaded Land Cruiser. You got like the roof rack, the rock rails, the loaded up interior, and you get the circular lights. And this section here is painted on a 1958 that has circular lights. This section is unpainted. But anyways, there's a lot of people that just love the look of this thing. And so not only would it be really easy to sell because it's a first edition, I'd probably be able to get a pretty good chunk of change because it's a first edition. Now, before we go to the Grenadier, a lot of you asked for cat content, so here you go. We got some cat content. He's been sad since his buddy went over to the other side, but you know, it is what it is. Now, first pro for keeping the Grenadier is going to be the license plate. I mean, in all seriousness, if I do sell the Grenadier, I'm just going to switch that over to another car. Haven't decided which one if that happens. Again, gotta take things one step at a time. But anyways, with the Grenadier, new car from New Car Company, and so I really like the content on this car. It doesn't get as many views as the Land Cruiser because, again, much smaller market for this, but it's kind of exciting. I feel like I'm kind of I don't know, like a pioneer in a way, because I'm one of the only people that actually bought one of these rather than just reviewed them. So it's kind of fun in that way. So the content is cool. And then personally, I really like driving this thing. It's got a super unique driving experience. The 250 Land Cruiser, which we can't see anymore because we're on the front, it just drives nice. It doesn't feel super unique. This has a very unique driving experience. Now, cons, there's really two of them. So big one is going to be resale value is not going to be that great on it because, well, new car from New Car Company. And then finding a buyer. I don't think the second one would be as difficult because of how I have this spec'd out. Again, with the satin PPF, with the factory winch, with the 33s. I mean, it's just a really good looking car. So there's a lot of people that at the prices these go for used would be more than happy to take this off of my hands. But yeah, that's kind of the pros and cons there. So now let's discuss the vehicle that we're looking at, third row vehicle, and then time frame. Well, when it comes to the vehicle we're looking at, I will have a video posted next week. We're gonna go look at one tomorrow, so just stay tuned for that. I guess I'll just keep a little bit of a secret. There's my decision for today's video. Now, when it comes to the time frame, so here's the deal. I review cars for a living, and so I know all the three-row vehicles, and I've narrowed it down to one that I think will work best for our family. Now, that being said, my wife still has to like it. So we're gonna go look at it, and if she does like it, then it'll be 6 to 12 months before we get it. Reason being is we want a particular package on that vehicle if we do go that route. And so that basically means that you can't really order them. It's kind of a confusing situation, but just waiting for one to come in that has the options and everything that we are looking for. So there's that side of it. And so that means that if we do decide on this particular vehicle, then whether we do the Land Cruiser or the Grenadier as a trade, that's another 6 to 12 months of content with that vehicle. So it's not like these vehicles are going away overnight. This is going to be kind of a drawn out process, which isn't a problem whatsoever. Those of you that have kids understand that for the first like 6 months after a baby, even to like 12 months, you don't really go anywhere, right? You basically just sit at home. And I mean, you go some places, right? You gotta go get groceries and everything. But like, you're basically at home just taking care of the baby for the most part. Last side tangent of the video, the Grenadier gets much better fuel range than the Land Cruiser. Again, same size of tires, bigger fuel tank though. That is something important to note. And now to sum things up, I'm gonna throw all of you a massive curveball. I'm also considering getting myself a three-row vehicle. Now the reason I'm mentioning this in this video, the vehicle that I would get is really hard to find, and I'm hoping that maybe someone watching this video owns one and they want to sell it to me. So if I were to go down this route, I want to get a Heritage Edition Land Cruiser with the third row. They only made this for the 21 model year, and they only made a very small amount. I've already looked at the listings right now, and there's nothing that really piques my interest. Most of them just have way too many miles on them. I'm trying to get something that's like under 30,000 miles. So if you haven't owned one, let me know. I'd be interested in it. It just, I don't know, it makes sense. Like, if we have, I mean, we're going to have 2 kids, and we're probably going to end up, I don't know how many kids we'll end up with total, but I'm guessing at least like 4 or 5, maybe 6, who knows at this point. And so it would be practical to have that. Now, with the 200 series that we currently have, I wouldn't be getting rid of that. My thought process with that, it's a Heritage Edition 2-row, which is not nearly as rare. And so I don't feel bad about building it out. I've wanted to do a 200 series build for a really long time. It just hasn't made sense. And I think that this could be the time where it would finally make sense. So I do need some advice on that as well. I'm thinking about getting the Descent off-road bumpers front and rear with a spare tire carrier, the jerry can carrier, extended fuel range, tank underneath, extra skid plates underneath, 34-inch tires probably, maybe 33s. The thing that I need the most advice on though is shocks. So I've read all the forums, And everyone pretty much either chooses Old Man Emu or they choose King shocks. Old Man Emu is more affordable and apparently it's really durable. The King shocks are super durable, but they're way more expensive. And then the other one that people don't really talk about is Icon. I've only driven a Land Cruiser with Icon suspension. It was a 200 series and it drove so well, so that's why I'm bringing it up. Let me know which shocks would be the best to go for on the 200 series. Again, if you could afford any of the shocks that you want, right, Old Man Emu to King to Icon, which one would you go for? I'll see you.